Hello and welcome. My name is Nealy Atkins and I'm a visual artist. I make pottery and I draw and I paint. Today we are going to learn about the Louisiana black bear. We're going to get to draw using lines and shapes, and then we're going to paint with watercolor. If you don't have watercolor, you can use colored pencils, crayons, or markers. This video is part of the Acadiana Center for the Arts online series, Virtual Art Studio, where teaching artists present lessons in visual art, dance, music, and more that you can enjoy from anywhere. The Louisiana black bear has been in this part of the world for a very long time, and wildlife experts have worked very hard to make sure that the bear stays around for a long time in the future. Some of the things that we can do to make sure that bears are safe is to protect their habitat. Their habitat is where they live. Educating community members about properly storing their trash will keep bears out of the garbage and keep humans safe, and bears too. Another thing that we can do to keep bears safe is to put an end to poaching. Poaching may be a new word for you. That means to kill animals that are protected. If you ever find yourself in bear country, here's a few tips to keep yourself and bears safe. Never feed or approach bears. Secure food, garbage, and recycling. Remove bird feeders when bears are active. Never leave pet food outdoors. Clean and store grills, and alert neighbors to bear activity. Have you ever drawn a bear before? If you haven't, don't worry. We're going to take a step-by-step look at building a bear. We're going to build a bear with lines and shapes to make it look like it's sleeping in a wintry den. Would you like to look at some parts of a bear that we'll be drawing? Does anybody know what this is? That's right, it's a skull. It's made of bone. It's hard. What covers bone? Muscle and skin. You can see where his eyes would be looking out, and his teeth. These are holding the skull together. This part holds the strong bare jaw muscles to the skull. It's a very powerful animal. This is a footprint of a bear. There's a wonderful texture here. Have you ever looked at the paw of a cat or dog? It looks very similar to that texture. You can see where the claw points have made an indentation, and they curve around like a rainbow. We won't be drawing that part of the bear, but it's good to know if you ever find a footprint like this in the woods, you may be in bear country. Speaking of bear claws, check out these real bear claws. They're connected to a bear skin that one of my scientist friends let me borrow for this art lesson. They're very strong, very good for climbing trees, digging holes, and making dens for their bear families. Check out how big this thing is. It's very soft. This is a healthy bear. This is the face of the bear. Here we have the eyes, the mouth, the nose, and the ears. This guy would be very good at hiding in the wild. You can't feel this, but with your eyes, How would you guess that it felt? I keep describing this as being soft. Have you had a experience where you've gotten to pet a dog or a cat or an animal at a farm? What makes those animals so soft? That's right, hair that makes a furry coat. It keeps the animals protected from the weather, and they can disguise themselves in nature. How could you draw this texture? Maybe you could use a lot of little bitty lines moving in the same direction. The bear's coat helps him to stay warm. When would a bear want to stay warm? During a certain time of year? Winter? That's right. That's when I put on my fluffy coat. Every year we have 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. In my house, we do the same type activities at each time of the year. Do you have some traditions that you have in your home? Do you celebrate certain holidays in the winter, in the spring? Do you vacation in the summer? How about birthdays? Those are my favorite. During the winter months, bears hibernate. In Southwest Louisiana, we refer to this activity bears do as denning in our part of the world. We don't have a snowy winter, so our bears hide from rain and cold temperatures and store their food and get ready for springtime. Mama bears take care of their bear cubs for 1.5 years. When they leave their mom, they're about 80 pounds. That's the size of a big dog. And they are old enough and strong enough to survive in the wild. Did you see those bears up in a tree? That's a good hiding place, isn't it? Those bear claws are very strong and very good for climbing. Are you ready to draw? Me too. We're going to draw a wintry bear sleeping in a hollow tree. Now is a good time to pause the video and grab your supplies. We're going to be using a plain sheet of paper, white, black crayon, and watercolor. Welcome to the art table. We're going to use a plain white sheet of paper, a black crayon, and watercolor paint, and a water cup and brushes. If you do not have watercolors, you may use colored pencils or crayons or whatever you have at home. To begin our drawing, we're going to start by making one curved line . This point is going to connect to another curved line. Next to our curved line, we'll make a curved line that connects to the top of the paper, and symmetrically on the other side, we'll have the same thing. It doesn't have to be super even. This is our tree den. Every tree is different and beautiful. This is an oval shape. This is our bear's head. On either side of the head, we need a semicircle or a rainbow shape. We're going to make a big rainbow mountain curved line to make the bear body. A curved line here for a bear paw, where it's resting its head on its paw for a pillow. Curved line claws. another front foot that reaches up into the body, and that would be his little tickly armpit. A curved line on the bottom that connects to the front foot. We'll add those sharp and beautiful bear claws on the other front foot and some to show the back foot. Did you get it? Don't worry, I'm going to go over it with you one more time. We started by drawing curved line up to a point, curved line down to the ground, curved line up to the top, curved line down to the ground. Our bear's head is an oval. It's about the size of an egg, maybe a little larger. You want to make sure that it's big enough so we can fit his eyes and his mouth and his nose. The ears are a little curved line, rainbow shapes. The feet are ovals that connect to the head. This foot is like C shape, and then it curves up into the body and stops. The foot is a curved line across the bottom, and our claws are curved lines, but not as curved as a C shape. Another curved line, just like this, is the sleeping bear eye. Toward the bottom of the oval, we'll make two curved lines. Those are his sleeping eyes. We'll make an oval on its side, and you can go ahead and color that in. A J shape and a backwards J shape to make his little mouth. This bear needs a tail, so we'll use one of those curved rainbow shapes to give him a tail. Remember when we saw that beautiful bear coat's texture? It was made of a lot of little straight lines. We're going to add texture to our bear in his den. All the lines are going to be going the same direction. We're going to follow the curved shape of the head. Keep adding texture to your wintry bear. You can add as much or as little fur to your bear as you would like. While you're working, I'm going to give you some fun bear facts. An average female bear is 100 to 200 pounds. A male bear is 300 to 500 pounds. Every 2 years, a mommy bear can have 1 to 4 cubs with an average of 2. The cubs are born in January and February toward the end of winter, and they'll stay with their moms for a year and a half. When a bear is in its den in Louisiana, we call it denning. It doesn't get very cold here, like a snowy winter. So our bears are resting and staying safe from the wet, cold winter. The black bear is the state mammal of Louisiana. It's a strong mammal that eats both vegetables and meat. A bear is an opportunistic feeder. They're always searching for food to nourish their strong bodies and store energy. Food that bears eat are acorns, berries, bugs, and even sometimes trash. That's why it's so important to lock a can to prevent a bear from getting into it. Now that your bear is cozy in the den, it's time to draw his habitat. That's the environment that your bear lives in. A deciduous tree loses its leaves in the winter, so it won't have leaves to soften the shape. We'll create these trees by making sharp, pointy lines that kind of look like the letter Y, and then have extra pieces coming off. Other plants that grow in this part of the world are palmettos. They stay green all year round. That's called an evergreen. Palmettos have long, sharp, pointy leaves that fan out like a star. Make long, skinny carrot-shaped triangles. This leaf is going behind my tree, so I didn't draw the point. Then it has a stem that comes down, maybe another branch that goes this way out of the art. We have tall grasses and cattails. You've seen those in swamp pictures before. That's like an oval shape and has a little point coming out of the top. Tall grasses are going to surround this bear and make it a safe place for it to sleep while it grows and stays warm in the winter. Maybe we'll place some rocks of various sizes outside of his door. Maybe he's stored up a few acorns to nibble on if he wakes up from his snack. A U shape with a point, kind of like that cattail. And then a curved line cap. Diagonal lines. And a cluster of circles to make a berry. These are the perfect foods to keep a bear healthy. When we added texture to our bear, it made it come alive. And we want to have texture on our tree. Let's use some wavy lines to give our tree some texture. They kind of look like wiggly worms. That's our bark of our tree. You can have as much or as little bark and texture on your tree as you would like. Maybe I'll put some evergreen tree shapes. Curve up, curve in, curve up, curve in, out, curve in, curve in. Maybe that's some tree greenery coming down. Kind of zigzag lines that go up to the top. Let's give some straight lines in the inside. While you finish drawing your texture and your environment for wherever your bear lives, sometimes I like to add some little dots. You can put little dots around the edge of your line toward the bottom. You could make some lines. Add as many details to your work of art as you would like. If you're still working on your bear environment, pause the video and we'll be here waiting for you to paint when you're ready. When it's time to add color to your artwork, you're gonna need pretty much the whole rainbow. With the black, brown, greens, a little bit of warm reds, and cool blues and purples. This is a cup of water. It doesn't have a lot of water in it, enough to rinse my brush when I'm ready to change colors. Each time we use our brush, we dip in, and you can shake or tap, or what I like to do is gently wipe my brush on the edge so my brush doesn't have too much water on it. That makes my colors brighter. We're gonna hold our brush with a loose pencil grip. Let's start by painting a blue sky. Dip into your palette. You can test out your colors on the lid, or if you're adventurous, you can go straight to your paper. The brush can be skinny and pointy and small if we barely touch it to the paper, or it can be wide if we push down a little bit more. Brushes are so cool, and they work really well if you wash them and take good care of them. They'll last for a long time. Get some green. For our evergreen, I'm imagining that this is a swampy cypress tree. Let's mix some colors. The evergreen is bright green. Get a little more water. Let's mix in another color. Let's mix in a little bit of brown with that green. We're toning down the intensity of our color, but it's still a nice green. Swampy green. And paint our palmetto. It's fun to make new colors. Use some brown. We can turn our brush to the side because we're painting a large area. Oh, look how pretty. The green blended into the brown. When those kind of magical things happen, the trick is to not touch it because it looks like actual leaves. We're going to use black paint water and start painting in my bear. I like this dark black, especially for the paw, because I imagine there's a shadow under the bear's face. Using long paint lines. This is an area that you might want to keep a little bit lighter than the body, so you can see the marks that you made with your crayon. Feel free to mix colors, that's a fun thing. I'm going to mix a little yellow into my acorn cap. That's so fun. I love watching colors blend. I'm going to use a little bit of red and a little bit of purple for my berry. Now these are the only areas of my picture that has red and purple. I think I might make some purple in my shadow. That looks like blue. I must have grabbed the wrong color. You know how you make purple? You add a little red Add a little red to that shadow. A snuggly cave for a bear. A snuggly den for a bear. As we get close to the bottom of our paper, the closest place, that's called the foreground. And it's the ground of our picture, foreground. This far away area is called the background. Things in the foreground are closer to us and easier to see. I think I want to paint my foreground a mixture of colors, brown and black. You can choose to make your ground what color you would like it to be. I'm going to paint around this berry. I left a bubble of paint there that's going to look very cool when it dries, but I don't want that berry to blend into my dirt. If it does, it's okay. But I'm going to leave a little bit of a space between those objects to keep my paint from blending. Sometimes we want it to blend, sometimes we want it to stay put. Okay. Maybe a gray rock. Yeah. Maybe it has some moss on it. Tap some green on there. As you continue to work, you may notice that you forgot an area. I just realized I forgot this cattail. I'm going to use a little orange, my cattail. Boop, boop. I didn't use any orange in my picture, and I like to try to use every color in the rainbow when I paint. Keep working until you think your picture is done. I forgot what I was going to paint. Thank you for creating with us today. I had so much fun. We learned so many things about bears, how to protect them in our environment, and stay safe if we're in a bear area. We learned about drawing using lines and shapes and colors. We even learned how to blend new colors with watercolor. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Please be sure to come back next week for a new virtual art studio